life's all about. Threw my virtues to the ground, drinking from the devil's cup. Take that pill, drink it down, flashing lights all around. High as hell, drunk like finally don't give a fuck. 'Cause I'm breaking all the rules tonight. Not going down without a fight. As long as I'm still breathing, doesn't matter how hard you might try. We can take this freedom. Waking up,
I'm fifth. Hey everybody, this is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now this is the live stream we do every Friday at 5 p.m. in order to just chat, just have a chat, talk about what's going on in the week, talk about what's going on with apps, share, look at each other's apps, that kind of stuff, and talk about what's new going on this week. And today I spent about an hour or two unpublishing a bunch of my apps because I needed to go through and republish them at some point. I've got like I did them in Corona, and I've got this like I got a flag against them on Google Play, and apparently I said that they're going to be removed by June 5th if I don't fix them, and it was either fix them or unpublish them. And even though they should remove them, and it shouldn't be a problem if they get removed, because I've had other apps removed, it's not like a suspension. But then I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want them to remove a whole bunch at the same time and trigger some sort of algorithm and have everything removed. So I spent a lot of time doing that. And I've had a few people ask me about the Google Play policies for families that was updated this week. But to be honest with you, I haven't read it. But it seems like that's another thing to go and do. It's almost like it goes back to this whole question of, is it better to have 1 or 2 apps or to have a whole bunch of apps? And if you have a whole bunch of apps, whenever these policy changes come through, or you have to do these mass updates, it's just like a huge chore. I suppose, although in reality, I suppose going through and recompiling a whole bunch of apps in an afternoon is no different than raking your leaves or doing something like normal people do on a regular basis. But it still doesn't mean I can't have a complaint about it, have a whinge about it. But that's what I've been doing today. So anyway, so Texture Tree, you're the first one here. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Max Weber, how are you? Azimuth PH, hey, how are you? And Billy's here too. Mega Man 2016. Let's see. Max Weber says a lot of AdMob and AdSense users are facing low match rate and impressions. So I've noticed that too. Mostly I'm having low match rates on the iOS side though, for me. But yeah, I've been talking with I was talking with Rodrigo earlier this week, and he said his impressions are lower. My impressions are about the same. However, I think it's, because I'm looking at it over a very long period of time, but mine seem to be pretty much okay. Rahul Singh, hey, how's it going? Open for profit. Hey, Rodrigo is here in the house. Josh, hi, how are you doing? Vuko, hey, how are you? Let's see, CH Development, Mohammed Khalif, Rauno, Jarvinin, hey, how are you? And Tom, yeah, the public web views stuff. But they still don't get removed even if unpublished. No, I know, that's the thing. I've had apps, that's the thing, Rodrigo. Even if I've unpublished something, I still get the removal notice. But I thought, at least I wanted, it's like one of these things where I thought, it would be nice if I could remove an app myself. But no, I can unpublish it, and there's nothing worse than unpublishing something and then have it be removed afterwards, because you almost want to say, look, I unpublished it, what more do you want? But anyways, just so like it can't say I have to argue my point. My whole thing about Google Play is because it's an algorithm at play. Like I just don't want to have them remove a whole bunch of stuff at one go, and then it triggers some sort of other algorithm, unrelated algorithm that says, hey, a lot of these apps were removed, and like maybe something's going on, let's shut down his account until he appeals it or something. That's what I don't want to have happen. Like I'm not doing anything wrong, but I just want to show that I'm trying to help as much as possible. And I think about it the same way I think about going through customs. Every time I go through customs when I'm traveling to another country, when I'm traveling home, I always just try to be on the straight and narrow and be as helpful as possible. And when you're traveling with somebody else who's complaining about it, you're like, look, don't complain. And especially when you have your kids with you, and they go, Dad, why are they checking all these people's bags? Why are they checking this? Well, they need to make sure there's not a bomb. A bomb? Would somebody bring a bomb? It's like, okay. Kids, quit saying bomb, right? You go through customs and you have small kids. It's so nerve-wracking. But that's what I feel like with Google Play sometimes. It's like, I don't want to, I don't want them to go off on something. I don't want some algorithm. But if they do, then I just want to say, yeah, I've unpublished it. So, Cord Funk, how are you? Bart Raka is here too. Let's see. Cord Funk, what policy changes? Did I miss anything important? Yeah, so basically, I'm going to show you this email here because I haven't really read it yet. It was like every time I get an email or a letter from the bank or even from Google Play or the App Store, and they say we're changing our policies, yada yada yada. It's just like, and I tune out, and it's and then a few people have been asking me about it, but here we go. Let me share my screen. There we go. Every few months we update our policies as a part of continuous effort to Google Play, positive experience for both developers. So you go. Already everybody's falling asleep. Who's left the live stream now? So we've introduced our families policies to help ensure that apps and games are safe for them. What you need to do, carefully consider your app's target audience. If your target audience includes children, ensure you comply with all our family policies. If your target audience doesn't include children, make sure your marketing doesn't attract them. Complete the target audience and content section of Google Play Console for apps currently live on Google Play by September 1st, 2019. Now, I haven't gone in and looked at what that is yet, but what it does tell me is I got something to do. And because I have a lot of apps, it means it's something I got to do a lot. But it just seemed like I glossed over it. It was in my inbox, and I thought, okay, it was like, it's almost like every so often I'll get a letter from the bank, and it looks official, and I look at it and saying, we just want to let you know we changed our privacy policies, and they don't really tell you what the changes are, and you kind of want to think like, dude, I didn't even read them to begin with. Like, why do I care that you changed them? And then, and then it's like, you don't have to do anything. This is just for your records. You're like, yeah, thanks. Thanks for wasting my time. But that's the way that I've kind of done it. So, which is not good as a professional developer. Like, it's not good to say that I saw the Google Play email and I just ignored it. It didn't say stop serving. It didn't say suspended. It didn't say you must do this. So I didn't do that. So for the family thing, you just got to answer a new form. Okay. Well, I need to have a look at that. Says Rodrigo. So Cord Funk. So let's see. Hassan Mustafa says, "Hi Eric. I need you to talk about the Flutter framework. Are we going to replace React Native, or still React Native is the best?" It's going to be. They're both going to work the same way. I think it's going to be a nice ecosystem of everything. It's not going to replace React Native. There's never just one framework or one language, and that's one of the great things about it, right? It's when you're doing something, a lot of times, like you're thinking about, it's better to have more tools in your toolbox than fewer. And I know it seems like the opposite sometimes. Like whenever you have too many choices, you're thrown. You don't know what to do. Look at social media. Anybody who's a social media person, and I am not a social media person, but every time a new platform comes out, people are trying to think, oh, I don't know, which one should I do? Should I do Twitter? Should I do Facebook? Should I do YouTube? Should I do Instagram? Which one is going to take over? And none of them are going to take over. They're all running concurrently, and they all do different things, and you just have to pick the one you like the best. Now, with something like React Native or Ionic or Flutter or Native, it's all going to be depending on the use case, right? There's not going to be one that does everything. Although Native would do everything, it just takes longer and it's more expensive. But if you're going to do something, and it's also, it would take longer to do game loops and all the game framework type of stuff if you don't have those kind of frameworks on board. But to give you an example, when we get a new project in, I got to think, does this need to be cross-platform? Most of the time, like almost always it is. And even if they say, no, we just want it in iOS, at some point they're going to come back to you and say, yeah, I want it in Android. So do they need a progressive web app? Well, they need a web presence at some point. Then you're looking towards the Ionic way. Is it something, or even React Native, because you have a lot of the code which presumably could be shared. At least you're doing everything in JavaScript. You have everything going on the same route. Is it something that's just going to be, is it going to be cross-platform, but it's going to be mobile only? Then Flutter would be a good one for that, or Xamarin would be a good one for that too. If you have .NET developers who are working in a .NET environment, then Xamarin is going to be the good choice for them. And so it's nice that we can all come to the table. I think about it like web technologies, right? There was no, I mean, HTML was the technology that everything put out into, right? But how you got there were different ways of doing it. And I can remember having, we have these, whose framework, whose language is better kind of arguments about when I was working at one of the investment banks. I remember somebody saying, oh man, have you seen PHP? Oh, it's way better than ASP. PHP will kick ASP's ass any day of the week. And you're like, no, right? You're talking like you're talking about martial arts kind of things. You're just talking about which one's more powerful. Oh man, you see PHP? PHP is way powerful. And then it's like that was years ago. But it's the same way. There's not going to be one that takes over. So I would not worry about that so much, Hassam. But it's going to be different based on if you're producing something, if you're putting something in the app market, go with what you like the best. Now you're going to have performance considerations on some of them. Something like if you have something that you need a high frame rate, then maybe a Cordova based or Ionic is not the best solution. And a lot of people will just straight out rule those out, and they'll say, no, it's too laggy or it's too bad. And if you see a badly written code in any language, it's going to be laggy. But some people just rule it out completely. Of course, then if they have to do web, then it's the trade-offs of all those kind of things. So I wouldn't worry about that so much, Mustafa. But the rest of you guys, let me know what you think on that. You might disagree with me, but I'm just, dude, I'm just an app developer in an office. I'm just an app developer in an office. CH Development says the family policy wasn't that big for me. I just had to go through some extra details in the console to fill it out. Yeah, I'll have to go do that too. I mean, one of the things, I code quite a few apps, but I release a whole lot more. So the developers will be working on something, and I'm the one who does a final compilation and puts it onto the app stores because I can do it much quicker. There's all these decisions that need to be made. So I will go through and do that, do the customer, God, what is it? The one that gives you the ratings. God, I can't remember the name of it now. But it's just like, I know it's there. I know what all the options are. I don't even read them anymore. It's just like, no, 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 yes, no, 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 yes, no, 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 right? Because I've just done it a million times. Probably the same way an accountant looks at a tax form and just knows he can just do it. Whereas if I look at a tax form, I'm like, look at form 1A. Where's 1A, right? I'm doing all that stuff. So sometimes it's easier for me just to do that than the client, because I could do it in 5 minutes and it would take them 3 days because they're flustered by the whole thing. So but yeah, so I'll have to look at the family one. Hopefully it's not too bad, but yeah, I'll just go through and like next form, and have the checklist where I go through, did I do that one? Did I do that one? Billy says, when registering for a Huawei developer account, do they want you to send a scanned copy of your ID and credit card? Did they? I got my verification this week and I've done nothing. I haven't uploaded an app yet. I don't think they did. Definitely not the credit card. I don't know if I had to scan an ID, but I don't think I did. But I did have to do, I can't remember the process. It was really quick, but I got my verification on Monday. Let's see. Rahul says, I'm getting 64-bit mails from Google. What to do, and what's the benefit, and what if I don't? Well, if you don't, I guess we have until September. No, is it August? Is it end of August that we have to change those? So last week we were talking about some of my apps. I got that email on a bunch of my apps. My biggest one, Ear Agent, has a library in it that is still 32-bit. So I was trying to, like on Saturday, I'm trying to go through and recompile this this library that we're using. It's an open source MP3 lame encoder, right? And when it comes to doing low-level compilation of C stuff, dude, I'm just like totally out of my depth, right? So I spent about 3 or 4 hours last Saturday afternoon trying to do it. In the end, I was just updating the ad libraries, and I still hadn't released it. And the danger is I'm not going to get around to releasing it, but that 32-bit is an issue. But my biggest concern is Corona. So a lot of my apps are done in the Corona, and they don't have support for 64-bit yet. So there was something on their blog the other day. Let me see if I can bring that up here too, saying that they're still trying to go through and fix that, but they're actually saying go through and when you do the survey, tell them it's third-party tools. So let me just show you. I was just reading this earlier today. And for those of you guys who are not Corona developers, you're not going to care. But for me, it's like even then I started a client project where I'm coding it myself. I started earlier this week, and I was doing it in Corona because I could do it much quicker. I know the language, but and then I was reading this today, and it's like Corona, Google Play apps is 64-bit. So they're still working on it. We'll update you when we know more, but they're telling you when you do this this Google survey that they send out, go through and put third parties so that hopefully Google will give you more time. But I'm starting to get a little bit worried about that too, Rahul. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do if we can't update them? Let's see. CC Champion, hey, how's it going? Pankaj Maharshi says I have marked 2 AdSense and Google disabled both. Please help me. Hi, how's it going? So Pankaj, I'm not sure when it comes. I've got a lot of people ask me to help them with their AdSense and AdMob problems, but there's not much I could do. In fact, there's not much you could do either except appeal it. Or if you have a mediation, if you have a mediation network set up, you should at least get some other mediation networks through, because at least you get something going through the application. However, if you're not going to get any ads served by AdMob, you might as well use one of the other mediation networks, like it's MobFox, isn't it? I'm blanking on that one because I only use AdMob, but I know that if for whatever reason, and there's no reason I should get. It's, like I said, like if I get unjustly accused of something, I think about this stuff from time to time, then I will go to another ad network, right? They're not the only game in town. Google Play is not the only game in town. They're just the best. They're the most plentiful. CH Development says a low match rate could be a sign of for cheap advertising. That's actually a good point. If you're going to advertise your app and it's a low, hang on a second. I don't know what I did with the Amazon Echo. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Voice control. Voice control is so good. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Excuse me just a second. Hey Google, stop. It was the wrong one. So I've got the Google Play, I've got the Google Assistant and the Amazon one next to each other, and I can never remember which one it is. I'm talking to the wrong one. All right. So anyway, let's see. So yeah, CH Development has a good point. If you're going to do advertising for your app, this is probably a really good time to do it, especially when the RPMs are low. That's a time to strike. That's when you're going to pay less for those kind of ads. Adam Major says, welcome, Eric. What do you think about the new Google family policy? Will it mean adding another dialog box before AdMob consent in which the user confirms he is 13 plus years old? I didn't even think about that. I hope not. I don't think so. Is it enough to indicate in Google Play that the application is targeted to people 18 and over? I hope so. There's a big difference between 13 and over and 18 and over. Like something that's 18 and over, you must have some really racy content. But if it's 13 and over, it seems like it's like online access. Like I could see why that wouldn't do that. But I don't know, Adam. I need to look into that because I just thought it was another form to fill in on Google Play. So we already with GDPR and the consent form, we've already interrupting the users too much. We're already adding something that causes friction into the whole scene, right? And I hate that. I hate something that we have to explain what it is, and they're going to look at it and go, "Oh, what's this?" And I don't mean the general. I mean, a lot of people will look at it and go, "Okay, it's GDPR. I understand that," or "It's whatever. I understand what it is," and they'll click OK, like the same way you do. But there's going to be a lot of people who've never seen that before, and they're like, just the kind of people I know, like you know. All right, so I go, "Oh, what's this? Oh, I better call my son and ask him. I don't know, And they'll spend like half an hour looking at it and trying to figure out what to do with it, and it's so slow, and you just want them to get into the app and start using it and start enjoying it, but it's something that slows down the process. For a long time, I wouldn't install a plugin on Chrome. Like, I wouldn't do a plugin on Chrome because it says it has access to your website history, and I thought, oh, I don't know if I like that, but they all do. Like, most of them do. It's but you just have to, it's just one of those things you have to accept. And every time, even when you get the consent forms on saying this app wants to use your microphone, you have to cater for the fact that they might say no, even though, or at least let them know why you need that kind of stuff. And a lot of people will just think, oh yeah, sure, they want to put cookies on my system. I don't think so. Let's see. Okay, this message is helpful. Bizwajit says, "Hi Eric, I published my game beta to production." Oh wait, hang on. Where'd it go? I do not have Neil helping me today, so sorry about that. Let's see. Bizwajit. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna open up your app here. Open in a new tab. So Bizwajit says, I added it to production. I added text on the screenshots as said. Trailer coming soon. Okay, so here we go. Let's have a look at Bizwajit's application here. Dark Space Legends Space Shooter. So you've got survive intense battles with shield, mega enemy boss explosions, extreme boss battle. I think that's better. Dodge bullets with slow-mo. Cool. I mean, see how that works. Access granted, Captain. I like that one. So, I mean, see how that works. I mean, it might be that you have to maybe change the language and try different things. And again, it all depends on the user acquisition report. If they're not getting to this page, it's not going to make a difference one way or the other. But if they are getting to this page and they're not, if the conversion rate from getting to this page and then not downloading is low, then that hopefully will help. But you might also want to turn it the other way. So the whole thing is, what's in it for me? Like, if I'm looking at this, what can I say? How fast are you? Can you beat the best score? Can you do that kind of stuff? But again, I'm not a gamer, so I might not be the best person to really know this. But like, if I see something, if I see something that says you can upgrade, you can get to level. There's 20 levels, right, or something. That might not be important to me because I don't know how many levels there should be. Or if it says something like, I think defend your galaxy's planets, I think that sounds good. Upgrade your ship with power-ups. That might be good, but it might not be something that they're interested in. But it depends. Like, I could be wrong. So I am probably not the target demographic on it. But the rest of you guys, let Bizwajit know what you think there too. Let's see. Ionis Volumiotis. Sorry about that. Says, my AdMob match rate has dropped from 75% on January to 60% on May. Oh, okay. Mine is, on iOS, it's been really, really low. However, I think I've got something like a bug in my code because I did an update to it like a year ago, and I think I'm making multiple calls. But if it was working before and it's dropped, then yeah, it might be a case that they just don't have enough people advertising on it. So it's not necessarily a technical problem. It might not be a glitch, but it could be just people aren't, they can only sell as many ads as people are placing. Rauno Jarvaden says, in addition to the App Store and ad income, what other numbers do you track on a weekly, monthly basis? that's really it. I mean, it's a daily summary report. So I showed on previous videos where it's the Google Play, it's the App Store, and it's I don't track Amazon because, I mean, it's like another thing. I mean, I hardly make any money from Amazon. And then Google Play, sorry, AdMob, and then Facebook Audience Network, although that's just pennies now. I don't think I have any ads turned on, but it was turned on for older apps. So those are still going through, and I need to do that again. I want to try out Facebook Audience Network again. And AppLovin is still having a few old apps that are out there, but that's like pennies. It's like nothing. It's almost not worth even considering. So those are the ones I check. The other passive income I get, I guess, is from the ads before the videos, but that's like $200 a month or something like that. So it's not a huge amount. You know, especially not when you're doing videos every single day and then you're just making, you know, $200. But that's not why I do it. It's I do it because it's fun. I do it because it's fun, and we get to talk about different stuff, but it's nice when you have something that comes in. And for the longest time, I didn't have ads turned on at all because I figured that's not making enough to even be concerned with. But then when I go to these YouTube things, I said, well, you know, it's better to have something come in than nothing, because maybe one day it will work, and you don't want to have people used to the fact that you don't have ads and all of a sudden you switch them on. So, so I appreciate you guys putting up with those. Open for Profit says, hello, sir. My question is it normal 10% cost per install? Or my ad network will be banned. I am using Start App, Unity, Ads, Chart Boost. Please reply. I don't know. If you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't be banned. If it's from different networks, then you should be fine. You know, that's the whole thing. If you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't be banned. And I know there's lots of people out there who've been banned who said they weren't doing anything wrong, which may be the case, but you know, there's only so much you can do. You cannot, like, you shouldn't artificially change those numbers at all, because it's going to look strange in some way, you know, unless you're showing, if you're showing too many ads, or if the placement is wrong, then that might be a little bit too high. But let's see, Adam Major has a, oh, here we go, Google Developer Blog, open a new tab. So thanks for this, Adam. Let's see. Building safer Google Play for kids. Okay, so what's changing for developers? If children are part of your target audience, it must be policy requirement. Ads in your app must be served to children, be appropriate. I'm hoping that AdMob just takes care of that. But maybe that's not the best thing to do. If children are not part of a target audience, you should make sure your app does not intentionally appeal to them. That's what it's saying, do not appeal. But I don't think target age group. Okay, I haven't even been into this thing on Google Play yet. So for most developers, so I guess you go through and you select the age bracket. I mean, it's a difficult one. I mean, for my apps, I mean, I think I would just go, yeah, 18 plus, maybe 16, 17, 18. I mean, that's what the whole rating system is for, the content rating system. Oh well, I guess they're getting some hot water about something, and I'll go through and work on that. Smash Highlight says, hi Eric, have you received an email about Google Play apps needing to be 64-bit? Yes, I have. They've warned me about specific apps I need to update, including a Flutter app. This is really surprising me too. I've got apps that are using, like, I figured, I've compiled these recently. Everybody knows what we need is 64-bit for like the last year. I go through and I recompile my apps with Corona. I figured everything should be fine, but they don't support 64-bit yet because it's a third-party thing. I'm surprised about Flutter, but if they're using third-party libraries too, then that could be the case. And I'm hoping they give us a bit more time, because either that or, you know what, if they don't give us more time, everybody who went straight to native is going to be like, I told you so. I told you should have gone native. I told you shouldn't have messed around with those frameworks. But yeah, no, I'm hoping that I'm the same. So we've got a couple more months in order to get that sorted out. But I got that email last week, so yeah, hopefully. Mohammed says, is there a job for React Native developers? I'm sure there's plenty. I'm sure there's plenty of jobs out there for React Native developers. Adam Major says, Smash, you have time to August 21st. Yeah, upgrading. So August 2020. Oh, is it August 2021? Adam, did you say August 2021? I thought it was this August. Oh, if it's August 2021, who cares? I don't know why. Why did I read that? Let me see. For some reason, this is just God. It's like I found out that the homework is due like a year later than. Okay, get your apps ready by. Okay, so back in January. No, actually, look, back in January. Let's show the screen. Maybe it's. Back in January, I got this email. Get your apps ready for 64-bit requirement by August 1st, 2019. By 2019. Oh, here we go. Starting August 1st, 2021, Google Play will stop serving your ads without 6. Okay, so yeah, you're right. We do have 2021, but updates after August. So update your apps now. That's what we do. I think we're all gonna update our apps like in the last week of July. Cool. All right. So yeah, it's not as dire as I thought it was. Thanks for that, Adam. I just saw the first date on the subject, and I wasn't even paying attention to the rest. Like I said, I skim over these emails, even though they're important. Let's see. Discovery Center says government has made a trap, and child goes on exploited from to college. Finally realized. Okay. Kendra Restu, hey, hi Eric, I have a question about AppLovin. I got about 5,000 impressions and about 1,000 clicks. That's really good. But I only generated about 40 cents. Is that normal? Or is that 4 cents? It could be. It depends on how much people are bidding in order to do it. It sounds really, really low to me. If you have 5,000 impressions, and it depends on whether or not they're banners or interstitials, and it's possible. It's possible to get something that low, but it's really strange. 1,000 clicks. You're talking about a 40-cent CPM, which actually, 40% CPM on banner ads, I think sounds about right. Well, ideally it should be a bit higher, but yeah, Kendra. If that's not working, do some interstitial ads if you haven't had a chance yet. And I know interstitials are annoying. Nobody wants to put interstitial ads in their apps, but something you give it a try. See if that works any better for you. And just making money from ads is difficult, right? I know that I'm able to make it work okay, but I think there's something cleaner and purer about somebody purchasing it. The thing is, nobody wants to make those purchases. So, and try Kendra, try some other networks too, just to see. Yao Johnny says, "Hey Eric, is there a technique to maximize eCPM when you monetize an app? I have 2 apps. One's got pretty high eCPM, around 2 to 5 to 3.5. The other's just got 0.5 to 1.5. It's difficult to know because we don't really know who gets what. And it's one of the reasons why I think we're not allowed to talk about what kind of RPMs or eCPMs we get on AdMob. Because a couple of years ago I did a video where I says, I'm going to show you guys my AdMob. And I went through, here's how you set it up, here's how you do this. I went through like all the screens, and then somebody like a few hours later says, you're not allowed to do that. And I removed it immediately on the daily video. Because I didn't read the terms and conditions, because, well, as we've established before, I gloss over those things, and I shouldn't. But my assumption is always that apps that have more downloads probably get higher quality ads, and I'm sure there's other machine algorithms at place there that if somebody's more likely to, if they have a high quality ad where somebody's paying a lot of money to bid for that ad, then Google Play is going to want to serve that ad to the person they think will be most likely to be interested in it and to click it and do the click through and the purchase and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure there's all kinds of things there at play that we don't all get the same ads all the time. So I'm sure that the top apps get better eCPMs than the apps that don't get a lot of downloads. And like when I say that you could go on AdMob and do like a really low bid rate and you'll get impressions, I'm not saying you're going to go into the top apps. I'm saying you're going to go into some apps somewhere. So if you wanted to show up in, I mean, it's just that. So yeah, I don't know more than that. Yeah, Johnny. Cord Funk. Has anyone looked at the Flutter web developer preview? Yeah, last week somebody was talking about it. That is a hummingbird, isn't it? I have not had a look at it. But yeah, supposedly you could, I guess it could, what? It could transpile into JavaScript, I assume. Xiao Lima, thanks very much. $5. Thank you very much. Hello, thanks for your videos. They are great. Have used these mediation tools like Apodil. Have you used mediation tools like Apodil and EPOM apps? No, I haven't. The only mediation tool, well, I tried to use Apodil. I set it up, and if you use Apodil, it's in some ways it's really clever the way it works. In some ways it's really creepy. So you have to go in and install the Chrome browser extension. You set up everything, and it will go through your AdMob and just go through every single one and add those placements for you, and just go through and do everything. And supposedly it's really simple. But when I only use it for a short amount of time, and I didn't see any results from it. And one of the things, I mean, it's nice Apodil that you have all those different places that you could do it and serve the ads with the highest eCPMs. But I didn't. It was still AdMob was still the one that was most of the ads were coming through. So yeah, I mean, that's as far as I go. I've never used EPOM. So, but for those of you guys who have, and by the way, and I've asked this several times before, has anybody used Apodil, and if you had better results with it? Because I get asked about Apodil all the time, and my whole thing is, you know, I tried it for like a couple weeks. I was not all that impressed with it. I've seen on their website they say that it's, you know, just this developer, you know, he was able to double his revenue or whatever, but I didn't experience that at all. So, and I have not ever spoken to anybody who said, dude, I've had that experience. Dude, nobody's ever says, dude, you got to try Apodil. Oh man, stop wasting your time with AdMob. You go to Apodil. I've never heard that. So, but if anybody has had that experience, please tell me. I'll give it another try. But so far, it hasn't been worth the time. Jay Matthew is here. Hey, Jay, how's it going? Adam Major says, I have an old application in React Native, not updated for almost a year. I thought it would make a 64 version fast, but application stopped compiling and running. That's the thing with React Native. I get this all the time. So I got Ionic apps, which they were working before, and I just have to go make one little change, and it doesn't compile. And I'm not saying it's an Ionic issue. I'm not saying it's a React Native issue. It could be some dependency down the road. It could be something I messed up on my machine. But just the fact that you have to make one little change, and you assume it should be fine. Rodrigo says, yes, Huawei requires ID and credit card pictures. Did I can't remember uploading a credit card to Huawei. Oh, but actually, Rodrigo, I have not set up the payments processing yet. Is that what it's for? I only did the first initial bit where I actually set up the App Store. So I haven't gone through the second stage where I go through and set up my bank and all that kind of stuff. So that might be the case. Let's see. Adam H said, React Native update is terrible. I think it would be best to rewrite it in Kotlin or Flutter. It's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult to take an existing app and rewrite it. I always say that. I always say, you know, I'm gonna take Mandarin Bubble Bath. I'm gonna rewrite this in Unity. I'm gonna rewrite this in Flutter, and I'll start for like a couple days, and I realize I could fix these bugs in like a couple hours. But it's just, but then you have this junk going forward, and it's I think you might be better off to do. You might be better off to do that, Adam. But I mean, surely other people, like other people who've updated React Native are going to have the same issues that you had. So at least you shouldn't be alone in that, I would hope. Like whatever error you get, you should be able to put it into Google and find somebody on Stack Overflow who says, oh, all you need to do is go into your registry or go into your bash file and change this to this and then do this to this and uninstall this and reinstall that, and you go through all those steps which seem to be kind of voodoo anyway. Like, because it doesn't seem based in science to be like just delete everything and reinstall everything, and you do that and you still have the same issues. But but at least it could be quicker than rewriting it. Rodrigo, maybe Eric registered as a company and didn't have send ID and credit card. Yeah, I did do it as a company, but I think it's probably I didn't set up the payment processing yet. So let's see. Billy says, Rodrigo, I found some info on Huawei.com where an enterprise doesn't have to provide verification, but individuals too. Haha, good. This enterprise that I'm in command of here. Open for Profit says, sir, it is normal for getting 10% cost per install rate on my normal impressions, or will admit? Yeah, I think we answered that one already. Rodrigo says, I'm right now adding Facebook Audience Network Mediation to my Onic version 1 app after all ad competition. After all, ad competition is good for me. Yeah, you don't want to have too much competition. I mean, in terms of your application, the danger is because I did this early on where I added like 10 different networks to my mediation, but what was happening was they were all like, it was like having this. It was almost like the same amount of money was coming in, except it was divided up into all these little buckets. All right, and some of them wouldn't even make the threshold for the payment. So, let's see. Cordflex has got to be firm with that AI. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We all have that assumption that if I add some mediation networks, if I add a mediation network, then maybe Google will get his act together and give me some decent ads. Let's see. Oh, we're way behind on these questions. Dev STT says, what do you suggest for me to build apps online? Please, thank you. Build them online. You mean like through like an app builder? Like, I mean, there's different things like Appy. Well, AppyPie is the one I always go to, but there's probably newer ones since then. But like the WYSIWYG drag and drop interfaces. Patlab Doobie says, I'm trying to learn Android architecture components. It's too hard. Do I really need it? I wouldn't think so. I mean, we talk about architecture components. I'm not sure what do you mean by that. I mean, you should know the basics, but if it's, I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one, I'm afraid. Chow Lima says, did you ever use AdMob without mediation? I'm trying mediation with Facebook, but I'm getting a lot of requests, but very low prints rate. I mean, I think I'm using it. Actually, I have mediation installed, but I only have one thing going through it now. So, because sometimes what I'll do is I'll just go off and turn them off. That's one good thing about mediation. If you have lots of SDKs in there, you don't necessarily have to have them all on at once. You can turn one off, turn one back on, turn one off, and do that through the AdMob. I've also seen people talk about doing it through Firebase dynamic config, although it seemed like that you didn't really need to do it that way. You just turn off an AdMob if you're using AdMob mediation. However, if you have all those SDKs in your app, you have to keep changing it. You have to keep updating them, keep them up to date, because you don't want like one of them to have an update and whatever. My fear is that a Google Play policy will invalidate something that's in some SDK that's downstream somewhere, that I end up getting my app removed because I'm supporting something that shouldn't support because it's in a SDK that I have not updated. Fly High says, hey Eric, could you take a look at my game at the Play Store? For some reason it has a low visitor to installs rate, around 6%. Maybe something is wrong with the listing page that I don't see. Sure. So Fly High, could you let us know what the name of that app is, please? Cordfunk says, yo Eric, yo Cordfunk, do you do any A/B testing in your apps to improve IAP's conversions? Apart from Google Play experiments? I have not. No, I haven't. So I mean, if you're going to do, so you can't really do in-app purchases A/B testing within Google Play, can you? Or that's pretty much through, like, you'd have to use Firebase config for that, right? So you could at least switch things between users, or am I wrong? Because unless it was actually the description itself. started messing around with remote config Firebase today. Really easy stuff, which is nice. See, when I started using remote Firebase remote config, I kept I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't quite sure if it was working, and I think I removed it. I chickened out right before I released it because I thought, yeah, I don't want to release to all these users, which I don't have time to test it, and I'm not 100% sure whether or not it's working or not. But you know, it is really cool. But I think it was using my test device. I was not quite sure if it was getting I wasn't sure if it was working. Sometimes you're running the app, you're trying to think, make a change. I don't see it yet. Let's kill it, restart it. Am I doing it in the right phase of whatever? So let's see. Pallav Doobie says, "What's in Google I/O 2019 excites you most?" I think I couldn't think of anything that was really that big. I mean, I did a video about one thing, but I didn't notice anything that I thought that was huge in terms of Google I/O this year. God, I'm blanking. I feel like, right, because it seems like Google I/O was like a long time. I mean, it was like a month ago, wasn't it? So I think everything I saw, there was nothing on there I thought, oh, this is a game changer. We're going to jump on this, right? There was no big, like when they announced Android Watch and Android Wear, that was kind of like a huge thing where everybody was talking about the next day. And there wasn't anything there. Even as a developer, there was nothing in there I thought, oh, thank goodness they're doing that. I don't think so. I mean, I think so. Siasu Budhatoki says, "Please visit Nepal." Dude, I'd love to go to Nepal. Can I sleep on your couch? I'd love to go on a trip someplace. I spent the entire day in the office today. I've been coding today, which is like I don't get a chance to code very often, and it was almost like it's been such a long time. We just sit down, put your headphones on, and code away. That like after 4 hours had gone past, I had that restless feeling where I'm just walking around the office building trying to start a conversation with people I don't know very well because I'm just kind of introverted, but then just coming back to the go to the soda machine, get a soda, and then walk back. But yeah, so I need to get out. I need some variety. Let's see. Rodrigo says, "I had to say it appeals to kids because it was a game and kids like games, and they say if they disagree with me, I won't be able to update the app." Okay. Isn't AdMob written in Flutter? Is it? Let's see. Vuko says, "A workaround for Flutter here." Oh, here we go. So let's put this. I know I'm way behind on the questions as usual, so sorry about that, guys. I'm sure there are people who ask a question, and then when I get to it an hour later, you've already gone. But well, hopefully everybody else will be entertained. Or let's see. So this is sent through Vivuco. Flutter build APK should include Flutter SO for both 32 and 64-bit architectures. Okay, this is an open issue, and apparently there's a workaround here somewhere. Yeah, this is what I've been doing all week with my Ear Agent app, trying to get that to do, but for some reason it's not compiling the lower level codes. But yeah, so that's the thing with Flutter. So so Vuko put that in the comments for those of you who need it. Let's see. But I hope the Flutter team will do something about this. Yeah, you don't want to do a workaround necessarily. CordFunk says, starting August 21st, your apps will be published will need to be support 64-bit. So yeah, we'll get some apps out there soon. And this is CordFunk. Put a link in here. Sorry guys, I'm just behind on all this stuff. I think I might be yeah, okay, so 2019. So that's the same thing we talked about before. Mr. SOS says, "Hi, I want to be an Android app developer. I started learning Java. What should be my next step? I want to make money by making mobile apps or by freelancing. Please advise me." I think you will do better freelancing. I think you'll be better freelancing while you're building apps. So it's a chicken and egg thing. When you build some apps, you're going to build your portfolio, and then people will hire you if you have things out there that you can show them. But in order to be able to afford to live, you know, feed yourself, pay rent, do all that kind of stuff, and make apps, you need to bring in some money. So that's where freelancing can help. And there's plenty of opportunities out there, I'm sure. How you can go something like Upwork, and just the fact that you're the lowest priced, I'm sure you'll get some work through it. And if you go in as the lowest price, and that's one of the problems with Upwork. Like, you just can't, you really don't know who's a newbie and who's really professional, and you should expect to pay somebody who's professional. But at least that's something to get you started. Ideally, though, if you can find a job where you're learning this kind of stuff, at least that will keep you doing it every day. And then while you're building up those skills there, then when you do work on your own app, that will work. That was one of the nice things about being paid to be a software developer, because while you're learning in the day, even though it could be unrelated, there's still things you could bring on board to the projects you're working on at night, and that's something I always did. Okay, so Fly High says the name of my thing is Xenos Project. So let's have a look at this. I'll show my screen here in a second. All right, this one is called, this is one from Fly High called Xenos Project. Oh, here we go. I assume it's this one. Ooh, is this, okay, I'm way behind on these questions, but Fly High, is this the app? Just want to make sure. There's one time where I spent like 20 minutes critiquing an app, and I had at the bottom of the comments, as somebody said, "No, that's not my app. That's not my app. It's somebody else's. I don't know whose that is." So Fly High, if you could just chime in there, that'd be great. Okay, cool. So, and this was what Fly High, you said, can you take a look at my app? For some reason, the visitors install rates is low, about 6%. Maybe something is wrong with the listing page that I don't see. So my question would be, when you say that the visitors installs rate is around 6%, are we saying that people are visiting it but they're not installing it? Is that right? So you are getting people hitting this page, but they're not actually downloading for some reason. Let's have a look. 24 megabytes, not very big. It's not like huge in terms of size. Let's have a look at the video. Oh, I forgot to plug my headphones in. Oh, the video looks very cool. Although, yeah, so I mean, so is it possible to, let's see if we can look at this. I just want to see copy video URL. Let's take a look at it on YouTube, because I want to see how many views it's actually getting, because that's one thing we could have a look at. So how many people are actually viewing this video when they get to it? So you've had 199 views, 100 plus installs. We can't. Oh, and you also have people leave reviews here, so they could have found it, and it's not unlisted, so they could have actually found this video through YouTube, which is a good strategy. However, 199 views, so they might not be watching this video. It all depends. So the bit of information that we're missing here is how many people are hitting this page. I mean, it looks really cool, but how many people are actually hitting this page? And of those people hitting this page, is it like, if you see 1,000 people hit this page, I can see 199 people watch the video, which you think, okay, for whatever reason they're not watching the video. Maybe I need to have a better thumbnail image on this, or if they're hitting this page, that means that the icon looks good, the keywords look good, all those free scary horror survival game, horror game, you might want to change. So free and game are going to be, people could search on it, but there's going to be overcrowded. But you know, let's see. Xenos project. Yeah, you have to think. I mean, if you find some, so you might have to play around with some different keywords. So like scary, horror, game. Those are all really good keywords. That's what somebody would search for. But if they're too crowded, then you may have to go through and do. You might have to go through and just change those a little bit. Think of something else. You know, like oh, Neil's here. Like think of some different stuff. So let's have a look at this on App Annie. Although it might not be on App Annie yet. It depends on how new it is. We'll just search for this guy. Here we go. So what I want to have a look over here is on the left on the ASO section. Let's have a look at what keyword you're ranking for, because I would imagine these ones, there's so many that it's gonna be difficult. So fearsom's a good one. Fearsom's the one that I would not have thought of. So you're ranking for fearsome because obviously not a lot of people are thinking of that. So I should check the United States. Xenos you're ranking first for, but yeah, horror games you're ranking number 24. Free horror game you're ranking 41. Multiplayer horror game. So you're actually you are ranking for some of these, but it's still further down the list. So what other kind of things we could do? So and scary you're not ranking for. Super scary games, yeah, bloody disgusting. So you got all these, but like if we were gonna go to thesaurus.com, and let's type in the word, some of these keywords. So we think maybe there's something else we could try out. Now, if it's something that's really like, you just like, sometimes I will just go through and look at something like this, get some other ideas. Horror, apprehension, dread, planet of abhorrence. Nope, none of those. Chilling. Nope, none of these. These all suck. Frightening might be one. Disgusting. Let's say scary. Alarming, chilling. So alarming, chilling, creepy. So chilling, creepy, eerie, horrifying, spooky. Some of these things. Now they might all be crowded too, but it's something you could try some different types of keywords too. Because if too many people are searching for horror games and you're not ranking for those, then you could look at something else that they might be searching on. Somebody somewhere might be searching on something different, and you might have a chance to actually do that. And then the other thing you could do, which some people talk about, is misspell the word. So rather do scary, do scary. But then you only get the people who don't know how to spell who download your app. So, but it's, you know, it's still something to think about. Let's see. Okay, so what else we got? That one was Xenos project, and we've got I Teach Tech has shared his app here. So let's do I Teach Tech's app, which is called, wait for it, screen share. It's called Newsbomb. Newsbomb, latest news and stories. Did we look at this one before, or is this a different one? Get the top headlines from all over this. Okay, cool. So I like the screenshots. You got 26 reviews. You've got 100+ installs. So you're doing something right, or you're getting your friends to do it, which is still, I think it's a good strategy. If you get your friends to leave you a good review, then yeah, Why would somebody else? So I get top headlines from around all over the world. Select news from different categories. News bomb indexes news from 30,000. Okay, cool. Hang on a second. From credible sources, cool. Get the latest news from different countries. See this one, okay, so this screenshot is cool because you're showing a screenshot. However, I don't think it's that impressive. So you might want to do something like maybe show like different phones of different countries or whatever. This is something that I kind of get it, but it's like like you're showing the configuration of it. So you might want to show something like a phone with Chinese news and a phone like 3 or 4 of them next to each other. One's in Chinese, one's in Spanish, one's in then you want them to be visually different. Like you don't have to read them to see they're different. One's in Chinese, one's in Arabic, one's in English, something like that. So you can see that there's different news from different places, because this is, you're looking at the same things, and just my personal opinion. So I think it looks good. And then we have to look at the keywords. I mean, if I was to do news bomb, how many, I guess you see the screen, right? If I was going to do news bomb, how many things would I see? So, okay, so you come up first, but there's also another news bomb without the space. And yeah, this one is not English, but it came up, but it was updated just recently. So yeah, I mean, yeah, keep an eye on that. Hopefully they don't complain about that. But I think it, yeah, and then the icon. So if I was going to do news, actually, if I was going to do news, I doubt you would rank for news. But you have to think of what kind of other stuff, current events. So so other things you might want to do is current events. God, what else? What else could we do for news? I think it's going to be a very crowded market. I teach tech, but I think the app looks good. I think my concern would be that you'd have to make sure you find a way to get in front of people, and maybe it's a case that you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to have them search for it and find it. Maybe you have to do interruption marketing and actually get it through some ads or something and get it in front of people. So if you were going to do something, like if I was going to have a news app and do Facebook ads, I might want to find some crazy news stories and put that on a Facebook ad, because that would be something people shared, and then you could say find it in News Bomb or whatever, and then you could do that. So you're actually getting in front of people, and just if somebody's searching for news apps, then they would type in news and they would see all those hundreds of different things there. Was I sharing my screen when I did that? I hope I was. They would see those hundreds of apps, and they would be, and you're ranked number whatever 500th or whatever. I think that might be a bit difficult. So you might have to, if you have something that's in a crowded market, you may have to look at interruption marketing rather than search marketing. So let's see. Yori98 says, "Yo Eric, yo Yori. Do you think Firebase real-time database will get removed in favor of Firestore at some point?" I hope not. I hope there's a case where there's, because we have some stuff in Firebase real-time database. But, I could see, let's see. One day I get an email that says, okay, you have an app that's in Firebase real-time database. You have until August 1st, 2019 to update it. Or whatever. Or they'll give me like a year. But we had like a year to update parse, or to, when they took parse offline. Although that year went by fast. Like, I was just like, a year? Psh, plenty of time. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a reason to do that, but I could see that happening. Let's see. Storm Nova iCanada says, "Hey Eric, is it worse to advertise a game in Iraq? I'm getting 150 installs per day, $5 to $7, and after 3 days now, I'm in number 200 apps in Iraq. So what do you think?" I think if you can get number 200 or in the top 200 among all apps, is that what we're saying? I think that's a good thing, right? If you can find a market that is not crowded and get up into that, then you get in front of people, and they'll leave reviews. Like we talked, they'll leave ratings, they'll leave reviews, even though the reviews might be in a foreign language, and somebody in the US might not be able to see what those reviews are. They will see those ratings. They will see this app has been downloaded 100,000 times. It doesn't necessarily say where it's been done, but the reviews will be for that location. or for that language anyway, but the number of ratings and the number of downloads won't be. So I think that would be really cool. Let's see, Damien Afre. Hey, Damien. Damien says, what do you think about Flutter for desktop and web? I think because we're still in the early stages of it, so I think it's still in beta, but if it could do everything and if it performs really well in all of those, then it's going to do really well. But I haven't really seen it yet. Like, I don't know the limitations of it. I don't know, and I still like JavaScript when it comes to web stuff. I don't like stuff like CoffeeScript that does like transpiles. CoffeeScript is old, but like before TypeScript we had CoffeeScript, and so it would convert a different syntax into JavaScript, and then I like being closer to the browser. I like being in JavaScript, but I'm interested to see where that goes. Like I still like I keep saying I love Flutter. I get asked about Flutter every week, and I have not. Yeah, I just have not had the time to get fully on board with it yet. So Mole Allah says hello. Hey Mole, how's it going? Let's see. Rahul Singh says, hi Eric. Can you share insight how your app sizes in Play Store? Sorry, just checking to make sure I was sharing the right screen. Can you share your insight how your app sizes on Google Play correlate to the number of downloads? I don't have those stats particularly, but the bigger your app is, the quicker it's going to be removed from a device. I mean, everybody has space issues. Everybody has, I mean, on their phone, we have battery issues and we have space issues. And whenever we start running out of battery or we start running out of space, then we have to go find the lowest common denominator or the biggest apps to remove. And we've all done it. We've all gone into the storage and spacing on your Android phone or on your iPhone and it says, okay, what can I get rid of here? Oh, this one's using 100 megabytes. Yeah, that's out, right? And that's, you want to have it as small as possible. My biggest application is like 4 megabytes, 4 or 5 megabytes, but most of mine are around 30, about between 20 to 30 megabytes. So, and I don't know if the biggest one gets it because it's so small, but I do know that it's because I still support a lot of the old Android versions, that it's available to more users, right? And more people can download it because they have the space. So, but I don't have like stats. Like I can't say specifically that having an app with a smaller file size is going to rank better or anything like that, because I don't know if that figures in. But it's kind of thing where you think it might. So I guess the short answer to that, following that long answer, is I don't know. But I think you're better to have a smaller if you can. And to make an app smaller, I mean, a lot of times you can do that simply. Like if you have. Sometimes you'll have PNGs with non-transparent, that are not transparent, and you could easily change those to JPEGs and remove like a whole bunch of space from it. You can have images that you're supporting giant screens and you just need to resize them. Sometimes you use something like PNG Quant and remove some of those, to minimize the size of those files. And sometimes it distorts them too much. It just looks awful. But other times, like a lot of us just have images that are huge. And I mean, this is something I found on when doing websites, when I go work for a client somewhere and you look at their website. So our website's really slow. You look at it, like, you don't even have to look at the code. You just look at the front end. You're like, well, this image on the front page is like 15 megabytes, Mr. DSLR, or whatever. So, sometimes you just easily go through and remove those images because code, and sometimes you have stuff like you might have it, again, it's not that I haven't had these issues with size before. I mean, don't spread any rumors. Like, if you have something like you have a image that is just a circle, right, or like a button image. A lot of times you can do that in code, right? You create the circle. And you set the fill color, you set the border, and you're programmatically doing it, and you have a few lines of code rather than this big bulky image. And that's, always trying to think, how can you get that size down further? You should not be using WAV files. You should be using OGG files or AIC files. That wasn't the iPhone one. Or use MP3, although some people say you shouldn't use MP3 because it's proprietary, but you know what? I use MP3 in some of my apps. But don't use WAV files. That's like one of the biggest things. I have developers give me an app and say, why is this like 75 megabytes? And you go through, look at the code, because you got this big WAV file, which is huge, and you just converting it to an MP3 cuts a lot of the space out of there. So always be thinking about the app size on there. Let's see. Cordfunk says not AdMob, but the app where you can see your revenue. Okay, I think I lost that one. Quotes Kingdom says, hi there. I am new in the app industry. Welcome, Quotes Kingdom. We all welcome you to the apps industry. How can I add AdMob or add in my app? Okay, it's easy to do. So you just go to, they kind of want you to do it. So you just have to go through and follow the instructions on the AdMob website. Go there, set up an account. It's been so long since I've done it that I can't remember how specifically to do it. But then as you go through and set up those placements, there'll be instructions on how to do it. And it involves like downloading a Google config file, put it into your code. But whether you're on Android or iPhone using Java or Swift or Kotlin or Objective-C, there's going to be instructions how to do it. Now, even if you're using something like a framework like React Native or Flutter or whatever, there's going to be other examples of that, but it might not be as plentiful when you go ahead and do it. So you might have to. It might be a bit more difficult the further you get away from native. But it's, AdMob is like the biggest. Like if you're going to find something to do with it, that's where you should find it. Cordfunk says, yo Eric, yo Cordfunk, any thought on Google changing their language preference to Kotlin first? People, and also have you tried out Kotlin? I have not tried out Kotlin. I always think because I don't have like a problem with Java, right? I always think Java, at least, I know Java. Like I know that if I read something that's more than 5 years old, it's going to be in Java. But yeah, that is kind of you think at some point somebody's going to say, "Hey, why are we supporting both of these? Why don't we just remove this other one?" And of course, and I guess we'll get an email that says, from a year from now, updates will have to be done in Kotlin, and then 2 years from now we'll remove all Java apps. Although that doesn't really matter because it's compiled, but who knows? But I don't know if they will or not. But every time they're really trying to push something, you got to think there's a reason for it, and hopefully they reward you for doing it. My whole thing with doing apps from the beginning, and I know I'm rambling, guys, but standing in the office by myself. The whole thing, every time Google recommends to use something, I always think, okay, I'm going to use it. But whatever you want me to do, I'll do, right? Whatever you want me to do, Google, I'll do. I'll try that out. Although I haven't done instant apps. So lately, I guess I've been getting lazy when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, I always try to use as much stuff as possible there. Luke Films. Hey, Eric. Hey, Luke, how's it going? Are you using a MacBook or an iMac? I'm using a MacBook. I want to get an iMac because this MacBook has become a stationary part of this desk. I mean, when I got it, I was thinking about, I'm just gonna take this thing with me everywhere. I'm gonna be coding on the couch, on the beach. I'm gonna be coding from the Himalayas, or whatever. I don't know what I thought, but most of the time I just leave it. I have my iPad with me, and I just leave it on the desk. So yeah, I have a Mac. I have a MacBook, and it's like a early 2013 MacBook. And up until just this week, I had so much space issues. You guys, if you're a developer on a Mac and you are like constantly running out of space and you're constantly cleaning your hard drives, you can't figure out what it is. God, I can't remember. It's there's some OmniSweeper, I think it is called. You go through and you can find out where all those space is and these things that are hidden from you. And you know what it was? Xcode. Xcode was using like 300 gigabytes of my hard drive, my 500 gigabyte hard drive, on old simulator impressions. So like that was like 3 days ago, and since then it's like my MacBook is new again because I was able to delete like 250 gigabytes of things I didn't even need, like iOS emulator impressions from 3 years ago, like of apps I did for a client and will never look at again. Or even then, I just created a new emulator image, but it kept all this junk in there. And also Xamarin. I had a whole bunch of Xamarin stuff in there, which I was just playing around with. And that took gigabytes of size too. And I was just able to go through and do all that stuff. So for those of you guys who do have space issues with a Mac, check that out. It was really cool. It changed my life, man. Live for Tech says, happy Friday, Eric. Hey, happy Friday, Live for Tech. It's going to be pizza day today. I think I might watch the movie Aquaman tonight, but because I haven't seen it yet. And I think I'm the only one who wants to see this movie in my house. So I'm like Aquaman. Aquaman's on Amazon now. I want to watch that. And eat pizza and watch Aquaman. Or something. I'll probably find a different movie. It's like one of those movies where I think I want to watch it, but then every time it comes time to watch it, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to watch that. Let's see. Yao Johnny says, good knowledge for ASO. Thank you. No problem. Fly High, thanks. Now I have an idea. Maybe I'm ranking for some keywords which have nothing to do with my game. It should rank for... It should never rank for bloody disgusting. I don't know where this came from. I think it's kind of cool. Bloody disgusting. You could tell everybody my game is bloody disgusting. No, don't tell them that. Or don't tell Google that. They'll make you do the child age rating thing. Techno Joe says, for news app, put Trump in their screenshots. It'll attract the eyes. You know what? Yeah, I was thinking that too. Something in the news and just keep updating it. So if you do get people to find it on a news app, but yeah, I think Trump's overused in terms of that. I mean, you see that everywhere. But I guess people. I mean, if they're either for or against, but they're thinking about them, so that will attract their eyes. Mustafa says, similar app algorithm. I hate Google algorithm changes. Yao Johnny says, hey Eric, what all the language did you do for Ear Agent? I did loads. Actually, I'll show you because I can't remember. So basically what I did when I did the languages for Ear Agent was I went through and I did I just searched the top ones. Now when I first did it, I said let's do it in Hindi and in Chinese. We'll do it in Chinese because I know Chinese, although I'll get somebody else to do it for me because I didn't trust myself when it actually came time to do it. And let's do Hindi because my developers were in India and they speak Hindi, right? I never asked them if they spoke Hindi. I just assumed they spoke Hindi because I'm American and I still know. I don't know much about the world. They spoke Gujarati, and they told me this after they went to Google Translate and got all the descriptions for it. So it was like, I don't know why we did it. And they didn't even do it right. They did it in terms of like a menu option, change language in the menu. Like they didn't use strings.xml or anything like that. They didn't like read the config of the phone. They just did, change menu option, which never works because like if you're speaking Chinese, you're not going to know, switch to Chinese if you're in the English version. So it should just automatically change with your languages. So there's my little rant. Rant for today. Not that I'm still bitter or anything. So here I got 27 languages here. Actually, that's not true because some of them are expand languages. So some of them are like duplicated. So we got Arabic, Chinese simplified, Chinese traditional. Those actually are different from each other. We got English United Kingdom, which is exactly the same as English United States. Actually, English United Kingdom. Wait, where's English? Has that been removed? English United Kingdom. Oh, I need to put you. Oh, English United States, English United Kingdom. I think I did have English Canada there for a while. I might be thinking of iOS. Got French, German, Greek, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Polish, blah, 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 blah. So we got loads of them. We got Spanish, 2 Spanishes, 3 Spanishes. That's the one I'm thinking of. 3 Spanishes, and they're all exactly the same. I have not gone through and said, let's do it. So if I go through and do, let's do Portuguese. We've got all of that done there. But also the big thing was doing these screenshots too. So that took ages. So like I didn't hire somebody to do that. I was just going through and I think I did these in GIMP. I did these in GIMP on my own. I was like sitting on the couch watching TV, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Oh, I messed up like 10 versions ago. Go back to the beginning, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. But yeah, that was kind of what I did. I mean, if I was a true developer, I would have wrote an automated process to do that somehow, but I didn't. So those are the languages that I've done. Let's see. Yao Johnny says, hey Eric. Oh, okay, that's all the languages. I did that one. Mass Apps. Hey Eric. Hey Mass Apps. How's it going? When you say Mass Apps, do you mean because they're really big or because they're from Massachusetts? Let's see, John Mullinahan. Hey, John, how's it going? Smaller apps will also get more completed installs in emerging markets where data charges are high. Excellent point. Also look at WebP for images. Android Studio can convert everything in one click. WebP, I don't, that WebP is something I don't know very much about. All I know is WebP is the one when you try to download the screenshot from Google Play. It's that. If you need to download screenshots, use Fastlane. That works really well. Boy, I found like, you know what? Sometimes when I talk, I sound like that kid in school that nobody liked. Just like, oh, by the way, if you're going to download screenshots, I would use Fastlane. Just telling you, just saying. Let's see. Rodrigo says Google now compares your app size to its peers, so it might count. Okay. Use APK Analyzer in Android Studio to say, oh yeah, use the APK Analyzer. I love optimization. Welcome, Hell. Hey, how's it going? The Huawei situation will affect Android programmers. Will it affect programmers? It might affect downloads. In fact, I talked about this in a video last week. It might be good news for Android developers because you'll have a lot of people who think they've finished with their Android app. They don't need to do anything more, and they need to re-release it to the Huawei store. So that might actually, maybe it'll be beneficial. I hope so. But nobody knows. Nobody knows. We're gonna find out. Adam Majors, thank you. Very good live as usual. Well, thanks. Bye, Adam. How's it going? See you later. Macs are the worst. We only have one because we have to use Xcode. Yeah, I know. I only have to use it in Mac because I use Xcode. Although I've gotten used to it now after the last few years. But you know, I'm not a fan. I mean, my MacBook still, it's not really customized very much. Let's see. Rauno says you should check out Dev Cleaner for cleaning up Xcode. It's amazing. See, I've been using Clean My Mac 3, which I've been using it a lot over the last 2 years, and like I had like 3 gigabytes left of space. I'm constantly coming in and my Mac saying you're out of space, even though I have the 500 gigabyte SSD hard drive. But now I've got hundreds of gigabytes available because I finally went through and found that, you know, because I figured as a developer, I guess we have different issues, right? I can't expect to use some non-developer tool to clean up my hard drive because it's looking, oh, do you have too many emails? Do you have too many attachments? No, I've got like system images. I got system images coming out my butt. Not necessarily. Let's see. Where was I? Carol VDW says, hey, Eric, can you check out my new game on Google Play? It's called Sengio Word Puzzle Brain Game. Sure, let's have a look at that. But I'm going to have to get going here pretty soon because I'm really getting hungry. Now that I start talking about pizza and Aquaman. I'm starting to think. So, Sengio. I assume it's this one. Sengio, the World Puzzle Brain Game. Cool. So you got a puzzle. I like the icon. Let's see. Play puzzles offline and online with others. Unlock all levels. Find effortlessly puzzles online. Okay, so let's look at these. Cool. I think it looks cool. When did it come out? So we're still just a few days old. 10 plus installs. Again, like time will tell whether or not it's ranking, whether people are viewing it, and you might have to change a few things. If I was going to change the screenshots at all, I would think. I mean, these are good screenshots, but you could put some people playing together, so evoke the emotions of fun. So. I mean, and it would appeal to people who I guess have friends. I've met some of those people before. Let's see. Rauno says, "Have you ever had?" I mean, but yeah. So I think it looks good. If anybody wants to put in your what you think there. Rauno says, "Have you ever had any offers to buy one of your apps, or have you considered buying someone else's app?" I have had people offer to buy my app, and they usually come by. Usually it's not somebody who's like a serious buyer. Somebody says, hey man, I've been looking at your app and I can see how much money it makes, and you know what, I'll buy that off you, right? Mainly it's like some automated thing where somebody comes through and says, we buy apps and we want to buy your app. Would you be interested in? They're like brokers and they're just doing that. I've had people offer to buy my business too. And one time I said, really? You know, see what it's worth. Like, find out. Yeah, sure. Right. And then next thing you know, they passed me on to somebody else, and like nobody wanted to buy my business. There was just a company out there calling businesses saying, would you be willing to buy, and would you be willing to sell? And then they called a bunch of other businesses and say, do you want to buy another business? And it was like, it was just this thing, like it wasn't like a genuine thing. And that was the same kind of thing with apps, right? People call up and say, oh, we'll buy your app from you, but when you say, well, how much are you willing to pay? This is how much it makes. They don't ask any of the questions. They say, well, buy it from me for like $300 or something. And you're like, no, thanks. So Sergey, how's it going? Sergey Kamashov. Hi, Eric. I'm Android dev with 2+ years work at studio. What do you expect as an indie dev on the first 6 months? If you have like experience, you should, I mean, it depends what you could do. It's all about marketing. So becoming a freelancer or becoming, being an indie dev. So you're indie dev and you're releasing your own application, not being a freelancer. I would say keep the job and release an app and keep releasing apps and working on it while you're doing that. So you're building something which you hope will take off, but there's no guarantees. So don't quit the job in order to do that. But keep it going. Like use those late night hours. I mean, that's what I did. I was working contracts. I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I still get up at, lately it's been like 5:30 or 6, but no, well, not 6, but it's been about 5:30, 5:15, 5:30. I'm getting really bad with that snooze button. But getting up at like 4 o'clock, working with the developers in India up until about 7 o'clock, getting showered, getting off to the, whatever, the hour commute to the office, working there all day, coming back home, working on the other stuff that I didn't require any conversation with the developers for at night, up until, late at night, and then going to bed, and just that was like that whole process. But it sounds like it was really bad, but it was actually fun because I was building something. I was building something not for somebody else. I was building something for myself. So as much as I could tell you the sob stories of, oh man, I get to get up early, I stayed up late, but it was fun because I was building my own thing, right? It was mine. It belonged to me. And so do that. Build your own thing. Don't, you're not doing it for somebody else. You're doing it for yourself, and you have a job, so you're able to do it right, and you're able to do it the way you want to do it and not the way you think will make the most money. But that's my opinion on it. Rodrigo says Android Studio can also use a lot of space if you download the emulator images. Oh yeah, Android Studio was the other one. Yes, Android, and I think I had like 3 different Android SDKs on there. So that's true. Mr. Neptune, ageism in software careers? What are you saying? Why would you be asking me that? What do you think I've been? You know what? People talk about it, but I have not seen it. Actually, have I seen it? I can't think, because I can remember seeing older developers. I mean, there's older developers and then there's older developers. There's so I mean, I guess it exists. I'm trying to think in places where I worked, where do we have older developers where, yeah, I guess the assumption would be, it's a stereotype that the younger people would be able to take it on, which is not necessarily true. The younger people they make mistakes. They make mistakes too, right? But it's like, you could have, but yeah, I suppose it does exist. I think ageism in software exists, not nearly as much as sexism in software though. So I guess if you have suffered from both ageism and sexism, then that would be even worse. But no, it's definitely does exist. I mean, but because when I work by myself now, I don't really see it so much. And Cord Funk says Macs have so bad thermal designs. Yeah, let's go talking about my Mac. Dev Cleaner specifically focuses on everything that Xcode produces. It's easy to choose. Oh, okay, cool. Javier says, hey there. Hey, hello Javier. How's it going? Hey, we're actually near the end of the comments, so nobody asks any more questions. I gotta go eat. We'll go through these last ones here. Prithvi says, launched my app 2 months back. It's doing pretty good. Thanks for the tips and tricks. Thank you, Eric. No problem. I hope they do well. Let us know. We have to look at them next week. Eric Stevens said on Facebook. Eric, thank you for coming through on Facebook. You're the only one today. Says, was wondering if you are interested in ever making a video about how to have a viable app idea. I think a lot of ideas, I have a lot of ideas, but some are just too big or the market is too saturated. I mean, that's always a problem. The market is saturated on a lot of things. Imagine if, but I mean, look at all these people doing drop shipping and they're trying to sell a towel, right? There's nothing they could do special for a towel. It's not a breakaway idea, but they have to find a way to get it in front of people and market it in a way that people are going to buy their towel. They're putting Facebook ads saying, this is a special gym towel. Use it at the gym. It's a perfect gym size. Do you go to the gym? Do you think about using a towel? Use this gym towel, right? So they're marketing in a way using interruption marketing rather than search marketing. So somebody's searching for a towel, they're going to find a bazillion towels, but if they're able to put something on Facebook that says, you know, target a different market and somebody who'd never even thought about buying a towel, they could do that. So it's not so much being crowded, it's how can you get in front of people and make it unique and different, or at least perceived as unique and different. And I think about this stuff a lot. How can you be perceived as unique and different, but also, you know, what's to stop somebody from, once you come up with that little hook, doing the same thing? With my ear agent one, like rather than say it helps you hear better, say you could be a spy, but then pretty soon everybody has a spy app out now. And it's very difficult to quantify these things. I get asked that a lot. I get asked, do you think this app idea is going to work? And I say it could work, but I can't tell you one way or the other. You have to, you know, to find out whether or not it will work. But you also have to think about the fact that, how do you get somebody to look at this that, you know, they've never, like, either they've never thought about it before and yours is the first, like, let's say you're going to do a meditation app, right? If I was going to do a search for meditation apps, I know I need a meditation app. I come up with Headspace comes up first, Calm comes in second, and then there's a whole bunch of others that are getting a brand recognition because we all heard of them. Or let's say I'm on Facebook or I'm on the Tube or I'm on someplace and it says, hey, are you stressed out? They're addressing the causes of what's actually like they're making me think about, hey, have you tried meditation? We have this app that does it. Then all of a sudden, they're the ones that I go to. I haven't even considered all those other things, right? Now, if I'm a savvy net user, which I am, I'll probably Google it. Like, they'll give me the idea and I'll go Google something else, but not everybody's going to do that. So that's one thing, if it is a crowded market, to think about. Like, okay, yeah, the market is crowded, but how do I get in front of people? And if you don't have a marketing budget, then that's really, really difficult to do. I don't know if that really answers it very well, Eric, but yeah, we should do a video on that. I just don't know whether or not I could come up with a good thing to say for that. Josh says, hi, cool LinkedIn page you've got. Lots of experience. Thanks, Josh. Working, so everybody out there should be working on their LinkedIn page. So when we do videos, when I do videos, they get automatically put into LinkedIn using if then that. I think it's IFTT. If this then that, or we're using something else for a while, but I think now it's IFTT. So that goes through. I've also every so often go look at my LinkedIn profile and update that. Just, you know, I think I spent like a half a day once just going through and just optimizing it, trying to get people to leave reviews. Now I don't do it as much as other people do. Other people are really good at LinkedIn. They're always in LinkedIn. They're always saying, hey, are you on LinkedIn? Let's connect on LinkedIn. And I'm like, I hardly ever go on LinkedIn, but I know how important it is to have a good profile page. Right, and so whenever I meet somebody, like, well, I'm going to hire somebody, or I'm talking to somebody, and I'll have a look at their LinkedIn page, or I'll have a look at that, and you look at, there's nothing on there, or there's huge gaps, or there's no personality in it. It's sad because you think it would just take like a half a day, but everybody thinks I'll do that when I'm looking for a job. But it's like, no, you should do it now. Do it today. Do it this weekend. If your LinkedIn needs to be updated. But thank you very much, Josh. Thanks for looking. I don't really push that LinkedIn page very often. So thanks, dude. Rifat, hey, how's it going? Man, you're showing up later these days. Let's see. Farouk, I did say I was going to do just one more, but okay, no more. After Yao Johnny says last question, Eric. That's it. We're not going to do any more. And I know I'm a pushover. I know I'm a pushover. I can't say no, but let's see. So this is Farouk Balad app. Hey Eric, I made some change in my app. Change screenshots, adding video. What do you think about it? Okay, so let's share the screen here. So this is the HD. Was it? It was in English last time, wasn't it? Okay, cool. Farouk, was it in English last time, or am I remembering incorrectly? Cool. Cool. I think the screenshots look really good. Is it multilingual, or am I just? So yeah, I mean, I don't. I can't check the keywords, unfortunately, because you know, it would be so badass to learn Arabic. Yeah, we did an Arabic bubble bath because I thought, you know, doing Chinese, I thought if I can learn Arabic, that would be even more badass. But I just don't know a thing. So, but yeah, Farouk, if anybody else has anything out there to mention, it looks good to me. How are you doing on it, by the way? Say 4.9. I was gonna say millimeter. 4.9 megabytes. I think that's a really good size, especially because it's a screenshot. So you're obviously downloading the screenshots, right? Or the wallpapers. Kuboy Mango says, have you worked with developers from Africa? I haven't. That's another thing I thought would be cool. I think I was talking to somebody, but no, I never have. Yeah, I did have somebody send me a CV, and I said, okay, what's your rate? I always ask what your rate is, and then they said, oh, it'll be like $60 an hour, and I thought, $60 an hour seems a bit high. And then it was kind of like, you know, then he was like, actually, no, I could lower it. What are you willing to pay? And I was like, actually, never mind. He kind of threw me off with the $60. So I don't know so I haven't actually worked with anybody from Africa yet, but I would like to one day. I think it would be kind of cool. Mainly because I want to tell my clients that, you know, we got developers. Dude, we got developers everywhere. We got them in India, Vietnam, Philippines, Africa, Brazil. I want to get one in Brazil too. Just like, it would be so inconvenient with the time zone differences, but it'd be like, it would just sound kind of cool. It would be all right. These are the things I want to do. I want to be badass and say I can read Arabic, and we have developers like in Brazil. Those are the things. I don't know why I think that would be cool to say, but you know, it's kind of like, I tried to become vegetarian, and I was vegetarian for about 6 weeks before I just like, screw this. Why am I torturing myself? But I have total respect for vegetarians. But the best thing about being a vegetarian was telling people I was vegetarian. It was like I felt so important. I'm a vegetarian, right? And in fact, I think I'll go vegan for a day just so I can tell people I'm vegan and see what that feels like, even though, you know, it's not gonna last long. But that's what it felt like. That's why I say these things. It'd be cool if I say, oh yeah, I've got developers all over the world. So let's see. Pratik Route says, how much do you pay your developers in India? Just curious. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't want to answer that one because it's either going to be too much or too little, and it's between me and them. So, but I don't mind you asking. I just don't want to answer that. It would be unfair to the developers. It would be unfair to it would be unfair to the clients. It would be unfair to everybody. So let's see. John Mollahan says, if you have time, do you need to be a registered company to upload apps to Huawei store? No, I don't think so. Other people have been able to do it. It looked for a DUN number, which costs money to get. If you've got an iOS account, you have a DUNS account. See, this is one thing that surprised me. It's a Dun & Bradstreet account. And when I set up my iOS account back in 2012, they sent me a DUNS number, and I still had the email. So, and I don't think you have to pay for the DUNS number. But I was able to find it, and I was like, thank God I don't throw any emails away. So you may already have one, John, because I know you have an iOS account. Steve Mamo says, how many active users do you get to live off? It depends on the monetization. It's not the number of users, it's how much money they're spending and how much you're making through ads and stuff like that. So if you had 1,000 active users and they were making daily in-app purchases, you'd be doing really well. And that is a possibility if you had, or through subscriptions or whatever. And it also depends on where you live, stuff like that too. Let's see. Yao Johnny says, last question, Eric. Oh, this is the last question I was going to do. All right, everybody remember. Last question, Eric. I'm planning to include social media icons such as Facebook, WhatsApps, PayPal, etc. on my app. PayPal, not technically a social media, but yeah, okay. But I'm afraid my app will get suspended due to intellectual property. Any suggestion? I don't know. I think enough people do use those. Go on Creative Commons and do a search for those icons. Because even if you don't use those icons, you could use something very similar, but somebody's probably uploaded somewhere and they've done it labeled for reuse. So that way at least you can do that. Cord Funk says, you should go carnivore. Yeah, I should. All right, and Donaldo, I did say I was not going to do any more, but I'll do this last one. I became carnivore in weekends. Oh, really? Can you do that? Can you become carnivore on weekends? Say, you know what? I like to protect the animals. I like to do my part for the environment, protect animals, and I'm against all that factory farming. You know, I just feel like I have to make a difference. Except on weekends, and I go crazy. You know what? I think I could do that. It'd be like cheat weekends. That was it. I think the reason though we became vegetarian, it wasn't because of health or anything. Although that was it. It was more. I know I'm gonna become vegetarian. It was like hardly any time. It was like 6 weeks, and I remember I started off really strong, and then it got to be just eating a bunch of junk food and eating like I was eating like Krispy Kremes all the time. I thought at least there's no meat in them. It was just like I was actually gaining weight. And oh, here we go. All right. Play.google.com. So this one comes from Donaldo, and this is the last thing we're going to do. Donaldo, this is the last one. I'm going to squeeze you in. Coding, programming ebooks, all free coding books. Cool. How did you do that? So for those of you guys, I'm going to put this. I'm not going to do it from a critique it, but those of you who want to look at it, I always look at programming books and I wonder, how do you get the content for it? Did you write all the content yourself? Or is it, okay. Oh, it's an ebook reader. Okay, so you're not. All free coding books. Okay, cool. All right. So everybody, thank you very much. Let me say the last one is Bizwajit. I became carnivore. Yo, Johnny. Hey, how's it going? Have a good. Everybody have a good weekend. I can eat wild again. I am going to eat wild. I'm going to eat more. It's going to be so messy. The pizza I'm going to eat tonight, I'm going to devour that pizza. There's going to be grease dripping down my chin. I'm actually getting kind of emotional thinking Mondu looks like I missed out a lot of the stream. Was busy learning Flutter. Good for you, Mondu72. Eric, is your revenue drop after algorithm update? No, not really. Anyway, that's it. So Mustafa, my revenue increased after algorithm update. Everybody, thanks for joining the live stream. I know it went on really, really long again this time. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Oh, tomorrow, I've done the video for tomorrow. It should go out at about noon tomorrow. I try to do a different editing style. I try to be a little bit more slick and cool in it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if it's over the top, if I'm trying too hard to look young and hip and cool. And anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for joining. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on the daily video, and I'll talk to you guys next week on the live stream. Have a good weekend. Bye.